Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and I'm live in San Francisco, California. And as always, down in San Diego is my good friend and co-host, Dennis Bithoulkas. What is up, Dennis?
I feel like I've just gone through time.
Are you back in time, or are you going through time? Are you in the future or the past? Are you
Both.
fixing the future to repair the past, or repairing the present to get to the future?
I'm going to the future to fix the future, but I have to go back to the past to fix the future.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No matter where you go, there you are. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes. Exactly. Hello, everybody. We are recapping Mr. Robot season 3. God, it's almost over.
Yeah.
We're at episode 8.
Yep.
Don't delete me. And after the last 3 episodes, which I would say could easily be the best 3 episodes of the series, and that's counting, the 90s flashback episode, the jail reveal, the prison reveal, which are damn good. I mean, it's hard to say. I'll have to go back, but right now, and maybe I'm just being a prisoner of the moment, but those last 3 episodes were like classic television.
Yeah.
So I think it was
awesome.
time.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think, but they had to pump the brakes a little bit. I think for everybody's sake, they had to pump the brakes. And this was Mr. Robot's version of a light episode.
Yeah,
levity.
Well, you had to have some introspection. You couldn't just have these characters doing some really heinous shit and not having any consequences as a result of this. I mean, you have 3,000, 4,000 people that died because of what happened there in phase 2. And this is the result. This is the end result of, that's what we have this episode for, it's a reckoning is really what it is. And taking stock of his actions.
Yeah. And, at least Elliott, it didn't mention it right up, but the way he was acting, it just clicked in my mind. I have it in my notes. I'm all, well, at least he's not, I don't know if you can, you can't see it, but I wrote down not suicide. At least he's not suicidal. And then right after that, I'm like, whoops, I was wrong.
When he was giving the dog to the neighbor, I'm like, yeah, he's gonna be gone. He's gonna commit suicide.
Well, it almost seems like the logical answer at this point.
Mm-hmm.
While Elliott himself, this persona, is not totally responsible, still partially responsible for the death of 2 of his friends, completely ruining his family's life, his remaining family.
3 of his friends, really.
His best friends. Romero. You forget about Romero. I don't know if they were friends. Romero wasn't anybody's friend, but
True.
It's
acquaintances.
Yeah. He was, just taking stock and like, I've tried everything. The only way I can stop this guy is through death. And of course, it has been a long time since there's been some drug references in this show, which was really heavy on the drug references for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, I believe my reaction was, holy shit, that's a lot of drugs.
It is. And I like Hard Andy as a drug dealer's name.
Yeah, that was interesting.
We've all had a Hard Andy in our lives, or maybe that's just me. I don't know.
That's just you.
It's probably just me. Oh my God. So yeah, it started out with a flashback and this is the only time we see Christian Slater. He has not been in this season much at all, but when he is in it, it's pretty heavy. This was Elliott being kind of foreshadowing the kid from later, but Elliott being a little prick, but his dad's dying and his dad's lying to him. And
also it's after his dad busted his arm too.
After he busted his arm. So he has every right to be a little prick. And they're going to see a movie. What are they going to see again? They're seeing it was the Jerky
Shallow
Boys
Grave.
Was the alternate. What? Oh, Shallow Grave. Okay, so
great movie. That's Christopher Eccleston's first movie, by the way.
No way.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Great movie.
I have not seen it. I've seen the Jerky Boys. I'm sorry to say. But yeah, 1995 was the flashback.
February 1995.
Oh, the year of my first marriage. Well, and yeah, so he now just they do the M&Ms mixing in the popcorn which I got to say I've never done.
Looks
I've never
disgusting.
done it.
And
Yeah, I don't, but I've never done it. I might try it now. What the hell? And he gets sick, and Mr. Ed Alderson gets sick and passes out. And Elliott just leaves him, takes his jacket, and just bails on him after they have the argument. And he's like, I want you to stay, but he's like, no, I just want to go home. So they decide to go home, and then Mr. Alderson passes out. Elliott just leaves him there. And do you think that's where he died, or do you think he just was sick at that point? They're probably one of his many hospital trips. And
yeah, I don't know. That could have been his death right there. We don't know for sure. All we know is that Elliott, when he goes into the theater by himself and he sits down and he talks to the empty seat, next to him.
Yeah, he says, shh, it's about to start.
All right, yeah.
So I think those are, no truer words have been spoken. It's about to start. So I don't know if that was the first time he had his imaginary friend. So again, it seems like after building up the whole CERN Mandela effect theory, the last couple episodes have kind of blown some holes in those theories.
Well, also, you got to remember, where is his sister Darlene in that flashback? If Mr. Alderson has taken him to the movies, he's probably going to take the sister as well, right? Take the kids to the movies.
You would think. I mean, it's believable that they would leave her behind. Sometimes, just some father-son stuff, and maybe he had to talk to Elliott after he pushed him. So maybe it was just best not to have Darlene there. But that is an interesting point, because you also pointed out, and I honestly, she was not in the scene at the end of season 1, correct? When they were on the screens and everything, she was noticeably absent from that. Now, we both talked about it, that being the possibility of like she wasn't in his life very much, but I definitely think it's just a purposeful omission. I think there's something to that, and I'd love to hear what other people think on that. I don't know exactly what there is to that, unless we want to go back to the Mandela CERN thing, and this is an Elliott from somewhere else. Or I don't know. I need to really, before we started this recap, Dennis, I burned through the first 2 seasons. So, but I need to do it again. I feel like I need to do, for one, they're really good to rewatch. This has a good rewatchability, this show. I don't know, man. But that was interesting that they, and then they rolled into the credits and they did that 80s movie graphic thing, which was super cool. And a mutual friend of ours, I don't know if any of you 80s or 90s kids, it was around for a long time. Remember the AMC film guy?
Oh yeah.
AMC film guy. Yeah. That was designed by Bill Selby, a mutual friend of ours. He's got a website, williamselby.com. He also painted the very first Star Wars fan club. The first poster that wasn't a movie poster ever made was made by Bill Selby, and it's the one of the Cantina band playing. Good guy. I've tried to get him on this podcast many times, but he's shy. But we'll get him on. So this was a really mellow episode.
It was, but there was a lot of interesting stuff that happened.
Oh yeah. I don't know. What do you think was interesting, Dennis?
Well, we go back, and so after the flashback, we go into Elliott's apartment and we see him going through the computer. He's looking at what happened with Trenton and Mobley, what the news is saying, and then also that red wheelbarrow is outed as being a front for F Society as well. So they're bringing down red wheelbarrow, and he's cleaning house essentially. So he's taking his files on his friends there, making backup disks, and then wiping everything by destroying those computers. And it's kind of interesting. You see him, I kind of figured when he was doing that, this is the beginning of the end right here of him wiping stuff out, but not totally wiping everything out, just so there's a trail for people who he knows, like Darlene, can find it later on if she needs it. And that's where I started getting the first hints. And then when he dropped off the dog to the neighbor, I'm like, oh yeah, he's really checking out now at this point.
And Darlene was definitely on to something. And the title of this episode was "Don't Delete Me." Lots of triple, quadruple meanings with this one. And that's the great thing about the show and recapping. It's just so freaking deep, and there's so many things. It's got me going nuts. As a matter of fact, I paused the moment with like, this is how dorky I'm getting now. When the drug dealer opened the case, how many of you out there paused to look at what the number was? I had no idea what the number meant, but I'm like, this has got to mean something. So I went and freaking it was 812. I have no idea what it means. But I'm getting a little crazy with the show. Lizzie Danger says in the comments, there have been no flashbacks with Elliott and Darlene together as kids. Yep. So there is definitely something to that. And she also says the rewatch value is top notch. Hell yeah. Cy the Olympian is back. What's up, man? Slow but important episode. What I find interesting is that Darlene and Dom both were in great relationships, but when their significant others proposed to them, the women left the relationship. That happens, man. That definitely happens. Yeah. It hasn't happened to me, thank God, but I wish it would. I wish it did the first time, but sorry. This is not bagging my ex-wife. She's a very nice person. Okay, she is. She was. I don't know. I haven't seen her in a long time. So yeah, so we get the whole slow. Yeah, I was having a little trouble. I was waiting for something to happen. I'm like, okay, are they trying to lull us, or is this going to be one of those episodes where they just, like I said, pump the brakes and allow you to breathe a little bit, but also it's good. It's what you said. It rehumanized everybody. You know, we've been going through all this craziness and you know, theories and stuff, and you need to, like, when you're, it's just still a drama at its core. So, you know, we're kind of, you know, we might be kind of pissed at Angela. Elliott's definitely pissed at Angela, but Darlene said it herself. I mean, she's been there for you when you freaked out, you know, all these times. Like, and Elliott just admits, maybe I'm an asshole, which he kind of is. Elliott is kind of an asshole.
Yeah,
but he's our asshole.
Yeah. Well, I also like how he says to Darlene when they're in the apartment there, he goes, listen, come over, you know, next week, because he's like, I need a little bit of me time. We'll smoke out and we'll watch Careful Massacre. She's like, well, it's not Halloween. And he goes, well, it's time we break the rules. He knows that he's going to check out and not going to be there next week. So that's the reason why he's just trying to make her feel better, to kind of leave him alone so he can do what he needs to do.
Yeah. And it, you know, I never, you know, I like that scene with the drug dealer, by the way, with Hard Andy. That was a really good scene.
Yeah.
His little, like, there's only 3 reasons you're going to need this, and one,
only 2 reasons.
Yeah. He's always said 3.
No, he said there's only 2 reasons. And then he finally goes, or
no, he said 3. He said 3. He said there's 3 reasons. Okay. And yeah, he did. And the first one was you're
a cop.
Or you're a cop. What was the second one again? It was
the second one. You're looking to take over. You're
looking. Yeah, you're dumb enough to. And then the third one is you're looking to check out, which means you still have a death wish. And you know, and he still sold him the drugs. He's like, yeah, okay, well, sorry. I mean, you know, really sorry to see you go. You fine piece of, you know what? And but yeah, it was just so nonchalant. I mean, I don't know. I've met people like that, but he went straight for the morphine too, which will definitely do it. And that he had more than enough to kill a few hundred. 20 people there. Maybe there was a lot of morphine there. And
also the other thing is, Hard Andy goes, how do we know each other again? And he goes, oh, it was a referral. Oh yeah. Which comes back in the end.
Comes back later. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I knew what, you know what? That's what I love about this show. I have faith that when they dangle something out there, that they will definitely wrap it up.
If not
the episode, they will pay out. They pay off everything. So many shows, Doctor Who, don't pay off stuff they dangle out there, and that's frustrating as hell, man.
Like when he actually takes his dad's Mr. Robot jacket to get it burned.
Yep.
And we'll have another payoff on that one at the end of this episode.
Well, yeah, definitely. So yeah, he's checking out, donates the Mr. Robot jacket, and it looks, you could tell that it got like taken right before it got incinerated. And yeah, he goes to what first he goes to Mobley's brother's house, who, you know,
yeah, he goes to Mobley's brother's house, and he basically is saying, you know, his the brother got railroaded, he was framed, And Mobley's brother, who's an attorney, is basically just calling him a piece of shit, and that he's not going to get a funeral, and all kind. Basically, just he tells Elliott to screw off.
Yeah,
that his brother was a bad guy. And then of course, Elliott goes over to see Trenton's family, who are very fearful of him because, well, they're Muslim and they've been getting attacked anyway as it is, on top of their daughter's
because
death.
they blamed it on Iran, on which was the Dark Army. Yeah, it's messed up what happened to her family, and we've got we know how close they were. It seems like they eulogized Trenton. Well, it seems like they eulogized Trenton a lot more than they did poor Mobley.
Yeah.
But it was a way to work in the kid and kind of put the mirror up to Elliott's face,
Well, also both of those, him going to the families, was his way of saying goodbye to his friends.
Yep.
And checking out without being able to see his friends to say goodbye. So that was the other thing.
He got killed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's messed up. Those were messed up deaths. Now that it's talked about. I didn't say this last podcast, but I was thinking I wouldn't call it the Mr. Robot Red Wedding, because there's been deaths in Mr. Robot or horrible ends. That's not. But this is the first time, like, I wouldn't call them main characters, but really close to main characters, like a high B character. It went out, and it was characters we liked, and there's so few likable characters in the show, so you feel it. I mean, they're interesting and enthralling, and we watch them, but like if Leon dies, we'll just go like he does. It'll probably be a horrible death. Irving, I mean, would I say Leon? Why the hell did I say Leon? I was thinking Leon's Leon's Joey Badass.
Yeah.
I'd be more I think I'd be more upset if Leon died than Irving, although I like them both in their twisted little ways. At least Leon was rooting for those kids. Obviously that does not help very much when Leon roots for you, so I don't know. But there wasn't a lot of the ins and outs. Now when the kid first showed up, we were messaging each other, and I'm like, my first thought was, oh, the kid's not real. Like, he manifested the kid. It's like Mr. Robot manifesting the kid to keep him from committing suicide, and the parents have really just left, and the kid's there, and we're going to get some weird reveal, like where the kid's going to disappear. And that's what they totally meant for us to happen. And when the kid disappeared inside the movie theater, I'm like, there it is. And I was about to text you, and then he asked the movie theater guy, have you seen a kid? He's all, yeah. And I think you mentioned that the other people in line had interacted with the kid. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, because he asked the question. He goes, "What's the movie about?" And Elliott, they're asking about Back to the Future, because there's a Back to the Future trilogy. It's happening on Back to the Future Day, which is October 21st, 2015, which is the day that Marty arrives to the future. So they're doing the trilogy there.
Yes.
And the kid asks, he's never seen Back to the Future before, and he says, "Well, what's the movie about?" And Elliott says, well, it's about a guy who goes to the future to fix the past. And another guy in line says, no, that's not right. He goes, it's about going to the future to fix the future, but you have to go back to the past in order to save the future as well. And then finally, we have the third woman who says, no. It's about how one mistake can change the world. That's how simple it is.
Yeah, and that's what Cy put up there right there. One mistake can change the world. If those hardware Kelloggers somehow reveal that evidence was tampered with by the FBI Santiago, it's over for him. Elliott has a solid play here. He does. They actually, we'll get to that at the end of the podcast, Cy, because I screen capped the email that I
didn't get a chance to read the whole thing.
So we're going to read it together, because I didn't read the whole thing either. So that'll be there. I mean, when I saw the interview with Sam Esmail on The Verge, 3 weeks ago, I mean, and I know I said it last couple podcasts, he came out and said it. He's like, the people in Reddit are right. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to surprise you, but the stuff I'm hinting at is probably going to happen. Now that could be him just lying to us. But at this point, it's beating over our head. It's just time travel. Yeah, I
Yes.
don't think it's dimensional, and it's straight up time travel. So how they're doing it, I don't know. But with all the ticking clocks and the white rose, yeah, if it isn't time travel, and I don't know what to say. I'm still entertained, but yeah, especially with the Bill and what'd you say? You got
Yeah.
the Bill and Ted's. So
So
there's a
when
Back to Future reference, which we all know, but Dennis caught one I didn't catch.
Yeah, so when Elliott is talking to Angela through the door, basically he's made his amends with everyone at this point.
Well, wait, just talk
So
about. We'll get to that. I
yeah,
mean, just talk about the song.
so basically the song is "In Time" is what it's called. It's actually plays in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which I've seen probably like 150 times. So I know that song in and out. And as soon as it first started playing, I'm like, he's not. Is he? He is. He's actually playing "In Time" from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And that it takes place when Bill and Ted go to the future, and they meet the future guys, and it plays in that vein there. And so that's the second time travel movie reference that we have in this episode. So it's all about time travel.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. That's good.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
I mean to like maybe throw in a weird sci-fi element in a show that none of us thought. Well, at least when I started watching, I had no idea what to expect. I thought it would be a psychological drug, whatever. I didn't think it would go this route, so it's kind of fun. It's kind of cool that they're going this route. So yeah, Elliott's running. He's made his amends. He went
Well, first
to Trent's parents.
he's looking for the kid who disappears from the theater. And one of the things I thought was it just made me laugh a little bit was there's an ice cream truck that shows up driven by this Hasidic Jew who's got he's got the little dreads going, and he's got the hat on, and the name of the truck is called Oyce Cream. OY. I don't know if you caught that. I didn't catch the first part of the name, but it was the second part was Oyce Cream truck, and that made me laugh when
That
I
was
saw it.
funny, and what I'm trying to do is look up that actor's name because I've seen him in a million things and I can't think of
He's
it right now.
actually a comedian. He's not a comedian. He was in sitcoms for the longest time in the 80s.
Forever, and he's
Yeah.
been in a bunch of '80s movies, and like they don't have him on IMDb.
He was the dad in the John Hughes movie Home Alone. Oh no, excuse me,
No,
that's
that's
John
John
Hurt.
Hurt. Yeah,
He was in it's another John Hughes movie. God. Uncle Buck, I believe.
yeah. Well, he's been in a million things, and they don't list him on IMDb. That's so lame. That was a funny scene. So the kid was getting he was annoying you. He was starting to get annoying,
Oh, I
but he's
wanted to
supposed to
slap
be
him, man.
annoying. It's a kid mourning his sister, and he's being forced out of his home because he's probably getting harassed because his sister was supposedly this Iranian terrorist or whatever. Um, and you don't think that would just be too like on the nose with those people. I know it's part of the story. So he was a bit angelic. And I don't know. I've got a boy around his age. This kid, well, this kid was really smart, and that's natural and stuff. But that's why I was just thinking this couldn't be real because he wasn't talking really like a kid at sometimes. He was being annoying at times, and then he was, asking the right questions. It seemed so. Maybe it was just fate that was that was coming in and saving Elliott at this point. But it saved Elliott. This was almost like Elliott, this is your life, except without dying. And it worked in a lot of ways. It was a very entertaining episode, but it was if it would have gone on a little longer, I probably would have gotten, I don't know, bored. But the way the episode ended was so freaking rad. It was so cool. So basically the kid keeps him from committing suicide, and Elliott is invigorated, and it's after he cries, when the kid goes, he's all, wait a minute, I got to go get you something, and thanks for taking me to the movie. And I think Elliott just realized that like this kid just misses his freaking sister, and he didn't want to be alone, and he just needs somebody to talk to. I mean, there are some like why weren't the parents wondering where the kid was, and
They weren't
little
there.
things like
Yeah,
that.
it was.
And,
Well, they had gone to the uncle's place in Connecticut, so they probably were just leaving the kid there so he could
get harassed by people who think his sister's a terrorist.
Yeah, it was.
It
It was
doesn't
kind
make
of
a lot of
odd.
sense.
It doesn't
Yeah.
make a lot of sense.
But that aside from that, it was a good, it worked for me. It was pushing it, but it worked.
Yeah.
And it brought Elliott back around, and Elliott had like a cathartic moment and started crying when he realized, like, damn, I killed this guy's sister, and of course, and now he's asking me to come back, and of course, and so when Elliott promised to come back and show him the Martian, you believed him. Like with Darlene, no, he was just full of crap, but you believed him. He had his little cry, got his little lollipop because he was sick. Then he goes back to Mobley's brother's house and demands that he gives him a funeral, and that's where we get another thing wrapped up, and that's why this show is so cool. Like
he says, he goes, I've hacked your email because I hack everybody. That's what I do. He goes, I saw some questionable things about taxes in there, which I'll release to the public if you don't give Mobley a decent funeral and a good funeral. He goes, I want you to make it good. He goes, and also, he goes, the guy that you have on your books, Hard Andy, here, you could sell these drugs back to him and you can make up the costs for what it's going to cost for the funeral. So that's where we got the referral from, is from Mobley's brother.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
It's a small world. So I want to go back to the beginning of the episode real quick because I didn't catch. He was wiping his computer. Was he was wiping Mobley and Trenton, right?
Yeah, all their information, because he basically, remember how he says he hacks everyone? That's what it was. It was the hack of them, of all his families, all their family's information. So in case they ever screwed him over, he had that information there.
I thought so. I wasn't 100% sure, and I can't go back and check that. Let's get to a couple of comments here because we got some comments. That's great. And it's Cy, as usual, who should probably be doing his own podcast. He's really good at pointing stuff out. I also realized that the Dark Army painting its origins to Iran was alluded to back in episode 3 when White Rose requested to be the case to the news reporter. Okay. And I thought the episode was poignant, says Irene. I'll just say Irene. Irene, sorry. I got a tough last name too. I don't want to mess it up. I thought the episode was poignant. It was totally necessary. When you see it, especially this series is actually, I'm glad it's not, but it's kind of meant to be binge. It's really good binge. This would be, after the last 3 episodes, you'd be exhausted, with drama. You'd be, oh man, this is a time to go out and, I don't know, have a smoke if you smoke or whatever, or have a drink or
shoot up or
cry. I don't know. Take your dog on a walk. I don't know. Yeah. So it was needed for levity and to rehumanize people, like I said earlier. The drug dealer, I hope they bring Hard Andy back. It's just, again, it's a good name for a drug dealer, and he's, we're missing a drug dealer in this show anyway. It really does need a drug dealer. Every good show does.
Well, we had it in season 1.
Star Wars needs a drug dealer for sure.
We did have a drug dealer in season 1, but they killed her off.
They did, and she was still to this day the nicest person in the show.
She was. So I want to actually go back to the Oyce Cream truck.
Oyce Cream, and then we're talking about War of the Worlds.
Yeah, so he was blaring out Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, the radio broadcast, and Elliott was saying, "Isn't this a little dark to be playing?" And he says, the Oyce Cream truck driver, that he sees it as a story of human perseverance, which is kind of interesting, considering everything that's going on around them. That as we see, like Elliott's ride on the train out to Coney Island, we see people en masse sitting around heaps of garbage. There's garbage everywhere, and people just kind of trying to eke out a living at this point, or eking out existence, if you really will. We see America on the decline, like severe decline after
military walking the streets. We got martial law.
Yeah, we've got martial laws. We have curfews going on. All this is playing in the background as we see this going on. And, it's just, you see this stuff kind of falling apart. And that's another reason for Elliott to also check out as well, going, damn, man, I created all of this. So, he doesn't see himself as deserving to live anymore as well.
No, but again, like he is so broken, this needed to happen.
Yeah.
This is where him and Mr. Robot are aligning at this point. And I think that's where the season ends with like them fully on the same page. Like they're still going to be two separate people, but they're going to be on the same team, which will be, I think that'll be very interesting instead of them fighting each other. And I'm not saying this will be permanent. I think at some point Mr. Robot's going to go back to being Mr. Robot, but
Well, again, that's also foreshadowed by the Oyce Cream truck driver, because being a Hasidic Jew, he says, we're looking for this kid, and he goes, I need to go to a mosque, and he goes, which mosque? This mosque here or this mosque here? He goes, hop in the truck. I've got friends at both places. So here you have this Jewish driver, who has Muslim friends in these two different mosques, and it's something that was kind of nice.
yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's the way. I'm sure that's the way it is in some places in New York now. I don't know. I've never
Yeah, no, I mean,
been to New York twice in my life, so no. It was a lighter thing. It was kind of thrown in, uh, and it needed that moment, but it was also trying to give you. I think it was just the writers going, we're getting really dark here. We need to like lighten this shit up just a little bit. Let's throw in a joke, or I don't know. And I guess so it worked. It was good. So after he gets done with the brother insisting that he gives Mobley a funeral, we're jumping back to the end of the episode. He goes, and I still don't know. I'm not too sure. Like somebody out there can mention like why it was red. It was red. He gets into this apartment hallway and it's just dark red.
Power's out. Because remember, her power keeps dropping out.
Yeah, but I mean, like aesthetically, what did it mean? It's got to mean something. I don't know. This is where I wish I had commentary, but
I think it's just emergency power.
He goes to see. I don't know. It probably had like just some really light meaning, but we were just talking about this for the podcast. They don't just throw stuff in there. Everything is thought about. Everything is thought about. Now there might be nothing to the combination to the drug dealer's case, but now I can win a trivia question in like 5 or 10 years, as long as I remember that, which I probably won't. And he goes to talk to Angela, who looks broken. And this scene is so amazing. And again, they did it in the uncut scene where they went above a room, and kind of you're floating above rooms. So you're sitting between the wall, and Elliott knocks on the door and just is insisting to talk to Angela. And she comes up to the door and she just looks like crap.
Did you notice all the different kinds of locks on the doors too?
Yes. Yeah. She had like 6 or 7 locks of padlocks and everything.
She had padlocks, chains, deadbolts, regular door locks, all that kind of stuff. It was very interesting. She even had one of the like bolt locks as well, the slide bolts.
Yeah. And they had the direct overlighting on her to just make her look gaunt and just horrible. And Elliott just starts telling her a story, and he starts to walk away, but then he comes back and just keeps talking. And she can tell that he's at the door because, he leans up against it and you can hear it. And they're just sitting there and they're talking, and he's telling a story. What
he's doing is he's taking her back in time with this story.
Yep.
To a mutual thing that they used to do, which was they used to wish about different things. Like he used to wish for a better computer. She used to wish for better clothes. They wish they could drive, and that they would drive away and get, different candies at different gas stations along the way and eat these candies as, they were taking this road trip. And so he basically took her, he took her back in time in memory is what he did.
He's just finding a way to connect to her.
Yeah.
And then she finally talks, but it was a cute little scene of that, and beautiful. It was a beautiful shot. I wish I could use it for our art, but it's too dark. I tried. And yeah, that was a great shot. And a great way to kind of end it. It ends with him walking. I guess he just sat outside the door and talked to Angela, and then eventually went back. And the white van rolls up. Now, Reddit seems to think this is the same white van that abducted Angela in season 2, but I'm even going to say it's just a white van.
Yeah, it's just a white van.
It's just a white van. There's lots of them. Yeah. So they dumped out some trash, and there's the Mr. Robot jacket. So Elliott is, reinvigorated, and he's going to go, and he opens up his new computer. For a guy who doesn't work very much, I mean, he gets a lot of new machines. I wonder how he gets those.
Well, remember, he had enough money to buy that whole bag of drugs. So
that's true.
He's been hacking. He's got Bitcoins everywhere.
He doesn't eat. So yeah, he lives pretty minimally. So, he basically reboots Trenton, right? Is it Trenton or himself? Yeah, he reboots Trenton, and we get to the email that she sent. And before we get to that, I want to hit a couple comments that they're starting.
I just want to say that the jacket, finding the Mr. Robot jacket again is the past coming back to it's going back to time travel again. The past coming back to help the future fix the past.
Yeah. It might not be any of this. None of this might be actual time travel. It could be metaphorical time travel, or it just, I don't know. We'll see. I won't be disappointed by anything because we're trying to figure out what's going on, and we could be completely wrong, but at least we're trying.
Well written at this point.
We're not interviewing the guy who made the music, who's very good, by the way, because he wouldn't come on our show and we wouldn't talk about that stuff. I want to talk about the show. So let's get to the comments here. Side of the Olympus said, just watch the preview to next week's episode. A meat is being set. A man is walking free, and things are coming full circle. Next week's episode is called Stage 3. Yeah. Did you notice in the scenes that you got White Rose losing it a little bit and flipping a table? That's the one that stood out to me. And then also the table in the middle of the grass. That's obviously where they're going to meet. So that's going to be the next two episodes are going to kick ass. I don't think there's any way they don't kick ass. I know last season's finale pissed off some people, probably because I saw it late. It didn't to me. I for one, I never thought he was going to die.
It was because of the unevenness of last season, and we were kind of uncertain if we were getting a third season. That was the whole thing, and the way it happened, it was just kind of like, seriously, you leave it like that?
Yeah, it's the hype died down a little bit for season 2. I don't know why, because it's it's sometimes this is an uncomfortable show to watch if you're a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. I can't out people, but I'll say for myself, I'll use I statements on this. The scene where I've brought this up before, where he's picking Adderall out of his puke, it's just not. That was bad. It was good in the show, but and it's not like I'm this sensitive snowflake or something like that. It's just, I was like, ooh, that's a little bit much for my entertainment. And I gave it a break for a while, but then when I went back, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? This show's great. And I burned right through it again. So it might have been just my state of mind.
And I'm going to say this has been the best season so far.
Oh God. Yes. That's the thing on Reddit, tell as many friends as possible about this show. I know it's not for everybody, but I still think, I remember Game of Thrones in season 2 and 3 when I was telling people about it. They're like, I'm not really into fantasy and and then next 2 years they're asking me about my podcast and calling themselves Throners, which I don't do, but you know what I'm talking about. So Side of the Olympia. No, I already read his. Lucy Danger says, Stage 3, whatever Trenton had planned, I imagine. And Irene says that scene with Angela killed me. Yeah, it was heavy. It was really good. That this season's going to win tons of awards that I don't watch and don't care about, but it deserves them.
No, it won't get nominated for anything because those award shows don't actually look at good shows. They look at fart joke kind of things and
or
shows that have been on for
whatever's political du jour of the day, whatever's the important show.
No, it's something with Kevin James or something with that's been running for 20 some odd years that doesn't challenge anything.
I mean, like the Orange is New Black wins all the time and Transparent wins all the time. Well, I've my wife likes Orange is the New Black, but then she stopped watching it, and I've never seen Transparent, so I can't comment on it. But That's the kind of shows that win. This one I got nominated. I think because Rami Malek was at the Emmys.
That's true, to get
Yeah,
nominated.
so like he is great, man. He is great, but everybody's great in this. There's no like bad acting in this show.
No.
I mean, we watch a lot of TV, Dennis and I and John, and we see a lot of bad acting with still good shows, but there's none of it in this. Not
Stephen Moyer.
What'd you say?
I said Stephen Moyer.
Stephen Moyer. See, you had to bring it up again. I'm not going to argue with you on that.
I'm just saying, that's all.
I'm just saying that like you've got something personal. He did something to you in your past, and Obviously. You don't want to talk about it, and that's cool. But like, take it easy on the guy, man. Okay. They are really concentrating on Back to the Future this season. I can't see any reason but time travel. Is that a red herring? It could be. I think it's going to be time travel with a twist.
Who said that?
That was, I'm sorry, it was Irene.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of people go, good night, Irene. She's probably tired of hearing that. My dad used to say that to me before I went to bed. I'm like, my name's not Irene, Dad. It's a red wheelbarrow. I saw what you did there. Instead of a red herring. I get you.
Red wheelbarrow. Yep.
Rami won, said Irene. See, they do give awards to people who deserve it. Damn straight he won. We saw the panel before season 2 at San Diego Comic-Con, and it that year it was the best panel we saw. That was really, really good.
Yeah.
And some of the better audience questions we've ever heard, because usually the audience questions at the San Diego Comic-Con are the most cringy. If there's video out there, I want you to look up. You want a good cringe fest? It was 2005 when Sarah Michelle Gellar went to promote what was that movie she was on after Buffy? The horror movie. The horror movie.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
No, the other horror movie, the Japanese horror movie.
The Ring.
The Ring. Thank you.
Yeah.
We had, my wife and I had to walk out. The questions were so bad, and we started laughing out loud. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to be mean, but we kind of were. So you go back. There's got to be video of it. It's wonderful. It's so bad. Rami Malek won a Golden Globe. Yeah, I remember him winning something. Golden Globe, yes. No, wait, Emmy. It says he deserved them both. He deserved a friggin' Oscar. Side of the Olympic. Initially, I assumed that Santiago's calls from his mom were actually calls from the Dark Army. When his mom told others that he warned her to stay indoors before the attacks, he's vulnerable. He totally is vulnerable. Yeah. I saw that comment. I'm sorry I didn't respond. Si, you did put that in the comments.
He actually replied to his own comment, and then he said, "No, that I'm wrong." That's what Si says actually in the comments. If you,
I caught that. It is weird. I think they were just showing those two scenes to just show Santiago. Yeah, Santiago is like he's the weakest link in this chain. I don't even know why. The Dark Army needs to like off him immediately. I mean, I know he's a valuable asset, but maybe
he's wearing a red shirt. We know that he's going to die.
He is. Well, and then Dom is on to him. Come on.
Yeah,
come on. She is totally on him. And well, she is, because at the end of, was it last episode, she wrote above Wellick's head that the surveillance footage had stopped. There's some missing surveillance footage. So that's it right there. And he was dumb about turning it on and off. When he turned it off, he was like, Wellick was crying. So you could tell it was a horrible jump cut. So
actually, someone mentioned that missing surveillance footage as well that she had written, and said that it was actually from Ecore when Angela went in and turned off the surveillance.
It could be that from that too. It could be, and both of those are big problems. But I don't know how you would not notice this surveillance footage being shut off in the interrogation room where it's nuts. Well, I guess Santiago's in charge, so I guess he could shut it off.
Well, he walked behind the camera. If you notice, he doesn't say anything, and he just walks behind and turns it off. And then he tells Wellick, and then he walks behind the camera again, turns it back on, and walks away without saying anything. So you don't know who walks into the room.
No, but I mean, all they have to do is ask Wellick.
Ask Wellick.
Yeah. Wellick's another wild card. The Dark Army could have killed him, and they did not.
Yeah,
it probably would have been the smartest move. So I'm really curious why they didn't off, because they're not afraid to kill people. That's obvious. So he must still have a role to play, and they must. It just you know, I've always gotten the feeling that White Rose knows something we all don't.
Oh yeah, White Rose does know something we all don't. But the reason why Wellick doesn't do anything is because his son is still out there, and he knows his wife is dead, but he knows his son is still alive.
They've got the leverage on the son for now.
Yeah.
But he's crazy enough to go, I will sacrifice my son for, Yeah, I don't know. And that's the best part about the show. I have no freaking idea. Jordan says the movie was The Grudge. Thank you. It was not The Ring. It was The Grudge. Thank you. Grudge. And Rami Malek won both a Golden Globe and Emmy, and Christian Slater won both as well. Hell yeah. See, nice. Maybe I should have watched. I'll go back and watch the YouTube. That's easier. White Rose was the only one nominated for season 2, though. And I think she'll be nominated again. Definitely. I think he'll win. I definitely think he's been amazing this season. I kind of miss him when he's not in the episodes more, but if we get too much, then it gets too much. So, there you go. Thank you, Jordan. And Rami for lead actor, and Christian for supporting actor, and White Rose for guest actor. So White Rose is part of the cast now, so it'll probably be supporting this year.
BD Wong, by the way. I know you forgot who.
Yeah, we don't know shit compared to the White Rose, y'all. Hell yeah. You're damn right, Lizzie. Oh man. So looking forward, I cannot wait. This, like I've said before, like I look forward to Wednesdays. I mean, out of the shows I can take or leave. It's fun to recap about everything, but this is the best show. This is made for podcasting and recapping and Reddit, and this is how you make event television that people talk about on Twitter. And I try to stay away from Twitter, man. It's not a place I go anymore. But it's just fun. I love it. So, yeah. Dennis, you got any final thoughts, final words on tonight's episode?
I just want to say, yeah, I agree with you. This is really made. If this had been made like about 10 years ago, really, I know it couldn't have been, with everything that's going on, but still, it would have been like one of those things that people talk about at work and
around the water cooler.
Around the water cooler, yeah,
yep.
That kind of level of a show, and I really am enjoying it as well. No, I really enjoyed this episode. They did a nice job of humanizing people, humanizing our main character too, and just giving us a little bit more information. And of course, time travel. It doesn't hurt to throw in some time travel every now and then.
I never get sick of time travel. I mean, even when it's done badly, I like it. It's a fun concept. And it can make for fun storytelling. You can do all kinds of weird stuff. Doctor Who used to be one of my favorite shows. So, all right. Well, we will be back next week. Now we got 2 shows on Wednesday. So I think we're going to do Mr. Robot an hour earlier next week. So we'll be on at 8:30 because Happy is premiering on the Sci-Fi Network. I don't know if anybody from Mr. Robot's going to be watching Happy. I recommend it, but it's a little nuts. It's about a hitman and a child's imaginary friend come to life.
Well, an ex-cop who becomes a hitman.
Okay, so an ex-cop who becomes a hitman who was a child before he was a cop. No, and Happy is like a little blue donkey-looking unicorn that is a child's imaginary friend that comes to life to help save her. And I don't want to spoil the rest, but it's based on a comic by Grant Morrison and Derek Robertson. And I highly recommend the comic. It is good stuff. So we'll be doing that at like 10. That'll be 10. So it'll be 8:30, Mr. Robot, and then 10 o'clock we'll be doing Mr. Happy. We also do The Gifted and The Runaways. Those are both on the same damn night.
Mr. Happy is a different thing.
So Gifted, Mr. Happy. It'll be Mr. Happy night. That's right. So The Gifted and The Runaways we do on the same night too. And all of our times will be on our website, nerdrotic.com. We have a little schedule there. And I also tweet out after I said I don't use Twitter, but I use it for information. I don't use it for fighting with people. I got over that back in 2011. Looking forward to next week, guys. the episode and the podcast. Hell yeah. And the chat crew. Yeah, you guys are awesome. This is what makes it fun. I love the chat. That's, when you get a couple more subscribers, people start participating, and that's what we wanted. That was the plan.
Yes.
An hour earlier is great for me. It's past my old woman bedtime. You are not an old woman, Lizzie. Don't you say that. I love chatting with you too, Lizzie. And so does Dennis.
Yes. Thanks, Lizzie.
Dennis.
Thank you. I'm
so much, guys. So yeah, we'll be back.
Irene.
8:30. Yeah. Good night, Irene. Price might end up with the same fate as his predecessor with a plane crash. Yeah. I cannot. That's another guy I can't believe is still alive.
I still say he's Angela's father. I know we've seen Angela's. Okay, I mistook. I was mistaken. We have seen Angela's father, if you will, when she went and stayed with him. But I don't think that's her real father.
It's a possibility.
I think Price. I think Price is her real father, and I think Price, the mysterious benefactor, as well.
Another big thing that we forgot to mention was earlier at the very beginning of the episode when Mr. Alderson's talking to Elliott, and he's like, I've made a lot of mistakes. There could have been there's a couple meanings there. There's like, I've made a lot of mistakes as a dad and as a human being. And then there's, I made a lot of mistakes by doing this weird thing at work that gave me radiation and killed me. So I think that's another, there was a lot, now that I think about it, there's a lot of big hints in this episode. So
also it could be, I made a lot of mistakes by fucking around with time.
Yes, exactly. Just general mistakes at work that happen to be like messing with time and space, not just spilling the coffee on my keyboard.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis. That is all, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to nerdrotic.com for all of our videos and podcasts. If you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe on the Nerdrotic channel because we love your subscription. We really do. Comment away. I hate the fact that these things don't import to comments. So please comment, even copy and paste what you said, put on the comments so other people can discuss. It's really fun. And yeah, we also, God, I know, sorry to make this ending so long, but we do a live podcast Friday night and we talk about everything. We mainly, this recap stuff came from a podcast Dennis and I have been doing for 4 years. So yeah, we talk about every TV show we cover. We talk about movies. We'll talk about the Infinity War trailer that dropped and all kinds of other stuff. And it's fully interactive. We chat away. It's Friday night, 8:00 Pacific time. And we're going to do that every Friday night from here on out, unless one of us is sick or something. But we got 3 of us doing it. So, if one of us falls out, we'll be able to continue the podcast. So I'm going to stop babbling. Dennis, take us out.
That was a Lord of the Rings ending there. It just kept going on and it's false ending.
I know, right? Wait, one more thing.
One more thing. The door hits your ass on the way out, America.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Thanks.